We are at Vancouver Halloween Expo and Parade, and we have a very special guest today, none other than Tiffany Grant, voice actress and writer. It's very exciting to have you today.
It's very exciting to be here. I can't believe you're really talking to Tiffany Grant. That's so awesome.
So you've been voice acting for over 20 years now.
That is true.
You have literally hundreds of episodes under your belt at this point. How have you seen the anime industry in North America change over the years?
Holy cow. Well, it's changed an awful lot. I've been doing conventions for most of that time, about 18 years. And, the fan base has changed a lot. When I started out, it was largely young guys that were into anime, and once in a while you would see a girl. And then Sailor Moon happened. So that really started bringing a lot of girls into fandom. And really just, I think every aspect of anime has changed since then. I mean, the way that it's made, it was still all done on cells back then. Now everything is pretty much computer generated. The way we record it is different, the technologies that we have. When I was starting out in the anime industry, it came out on video cassette tapes. And DVD wasn't even invented yet. And now it's gone from VHS to DVD and Blu-ray to most people now just watch anime, on their phone or on their tablet or something. So it's, I can't think of an aspect of it that hasn't changed. Cosplay has changed. When I started out, people at conventions, they would cosplay, but it wasn't to the level that you're doing. It was just, they kind of knocked something together in their basement and it was just for fun. And now that's a whole industry and it's very competitive at a high level. It's even, people do it professionally. I mean, I don't know, there's everything about anime has changed now.
And so you've also done writing as well as voice acting.
Yeah.
And how have you, do you think that acting in, or voice acting in anime has given you an advantage with script writing?
Oh, for sure, yeah. In fact, most of the people who tend to do the English language script adaptations usually do have a background in voice acting or directing, just because it's a really, really niche specialty. It's very tedious in a lot of ways, but there again, there's something that's changed dramatically. When I started doing script adaptations, I would get a videotape of the episodes, and I would have that in my VCR while I was, working on my computer with the script. And then later on, I would get the episodes on a DVD that I would put into my computer. And now I just download the file of the video. So that's something that's changed as well. But I enjoy the script adapting, but it is a lot of work. It's very, very difficult, and certainly that is entirely informed by my voice acting experience.
Do you think that the tropes in anime over years and the archetypes of characters and situations, that kind of thing, have you seen those change as well? I guess that's true that they have. There's a lot of more things that are available to people than, say, 20 years ago when it was mostly just, I don't know, either giant robots or magical girls or something. There are a lot of different things that can be explored in anime, and they're, reaching out and telling a lot of different types of stories, and a lot of things that are genuine dramas and things that are really heartfelt, with a lot of good character development. And of course, there's a lot of emo stuff, and there's all kinds of stuff that's very trite, of course. It's I've seen this show 1,000 times, but there's new things, there's fresh things that are coming out. So it's always an exciting industry to be a part of and see what the next new thing is. And do you have any favorite types of characters to perform as?
It's hard for me to say really a favorite type, although I have to admit I do have a real weakness for playing critters. Any kind of critters whatsoever, and I have played a lot of them. It's probably not the thing that I'm most famous for doing, but I love doing any kind of animal creature, imaginary creature, alien, anything that makes funny noises. Love doing all that. And also I really do enjoy playing young boy characters. That's something that I enjoy tremendously.
So what do you think distinguishes voice acting in anime versus any other type of voice acting or voiceover work?
Oh, wow, your questions are excellent, by the way. Well, the big difference is that if you're doing, and I have done other types of voiceover work, but with anime, it's a kind of acting where the picture is already there. So you're having to fit your performance into this mouth that's already drawn, and there are facial expressions and gestures, and everything is already there. So my husband, Matt Greenfield, he's often described it as sort of like acting in a Greek tragedy or a Greek play where they would wear a mask and deliver their lines from behind the mask, and you would understand the emotions of what the scene was because of what the mask was. And it's kind of like that. Because you kind of have to have a knack for it, matching the mouth flaps and getting across the right emotions and everything, but making it fit into those gosh darn little mouth flaps that are already there. So it is a very difficult thing to do, but there's a certain satisfaction with it, I think, at the end of the day, in getting your performance squeezed into those little flippity flaps.
You've also gone to a number of conventions over the years. What's your favorite thing about coming to these kinds of events?
Well, you know what? I love going to conventions. I am not going to lie. It has been said about me before that if you invite me and there's like one dealer table and a cosplayer, like, oh, Tiffany Grant will be at that. It is so true. I love to see the costumes. I like to meet the fans. I love getting to travel around the world and seeing the sights, seeing different places, but also just meeting the people and hearing from them, like the kind of things that they like, because the actual recording of anime, it's fairly sterile, it's just an actor in a little padded recording booth, and then you've got your director and sound engineer, and that's it. So you don't really know the impact on your audience until you get out here and you meet the audience. So that's, I guess, kind of the gratifying part of it, because if you're doing a play, for example, well, the audience is right there and you already know what they think about it by their response. So if I want to hear what the audience thinks, I have to come to conventions and meet the people where they are.
I also understand that you have a pretty extensive and impressive collection of figurines and anime merchandise. If you had to guess, how many pieces of paraphernalia do you have in your collection at this point?
Wow. That is a difficult question, because, people know that I have a big Asuka collection because we did an extra feature in the platinum release of Evangelion, and I do have a massive Asuka collection. And of course, people know I have a big Hello Kitty collection. And then I have, really, if there is merchandise for any character that I have done, I will buy it, everything. So, it's got to be over 1,000 pieces of memorabilia. I have no idea really what it would even be. There's so much, and a lot of it is just small things like keychains and, pencils and pens, and just, there's just so much of it. It's just a tremendous amount of stuff. It's really, most of it is crammed into my office at home right now, but there's a lot of it.
So Evangelion fans, they generally tend to really appreciate Asuka as a character, or they just can't seem to stand her. Why do you think she's such a polarizing character?
Well, Asuka's a fairly abrasive character. She's loud, she's obnoxious, she's kind of larger than life. And I can see why she would kind of be offensive to some people. There are the people who like Rei, where she's the more traditional sort of Japanese girl who's quiet and subservient, but I tend to personally not be quiet or subservient, so I really do identify very strongly with Asuka. But there are a lot of people that just does not go over so well for them. So I think it probably depends on more what they identify with personally, or who they would want to be friends with. Like, they think about who would I really be friends with in real life. So I don't know. I would be friends with Asuka. Rei, not so much.
That's definitely the right answer.
Yes.
So the way that you characterized Asuka Langley Soryu in Evangelion, is it different than the way that you characterize Asuka Langley Shikanami in Rebuild?
Yeah, I mean, there are obviously similarities. It's difficult because we don't get a lot of backstory about Shikanami. So it was inevitable that my performance of Shikanami, Asuka, does have to draw on the Soryu Asuka, just because that was what my background was. But there are obviously a lot of different things, and I tried to think about this. She doesn't really give a flip about Kaji. She's not interested in him at all. They've kind of taken out the aspect of her being German. That's not really mentioned in there. I mean, it's kind of hinted that she probably is German or she lived there. And she's kind of more upbeat in the new films. Well, at least in 2.0 she was more upbeat. And then of course in 3.0 she's an adult. Even though physically she hasn't changed, she is an adult. So that was really a way different version to me of Asuka, because she's had this really difficult life and she's been just, basically at war every day for such a long time for this past 14 years. So yeah, I think there definitely is a difference from the Shikanami Asuka from Soryu Asuka, especially in the third film, which hopefully is going to be coming out soon.
Speaking of Asuka's German heritage, from my understanding, Germany tends to be kind of a country of kind of working for the greater good, sort of European mentality. Asuka's very self-centered. Do you think that would make her sort of an outlier or sort of an outsider in German culture?
Probably so, but I mean, even though we know that she grew up in Germany, she isn't 100% German in her heritage. She's supposed to be like a quarter German, so she does have those different influences in her background. And of course, she's had a really difficult life. We know that she had, quite a tortured relationship with her mother, and then that ended under some dubious circumstances. But yeah, I mean, probably, in a lot of cultures, the attitude that Ozzy has, certainly in Japanese culture, that attitude is very much would make her an outlier over there. She really stands apart from everyone in her confidence, her outgoingness, her incredible exuberance that she has. I mean, she's really, really putting herself out there to everyone. I mean, like, when she introduces herself in the classroom and she says, "Charmed, huh?" I mean, really, she's saying to them, it's like, aren't, you're so lucky to meet me, is what she's saying. I mean, there's even a line that she has, I'm the most popular girl in school. You should appreciate your good fortune. I mean, and that kind of tells you what you need to know about her right there.
So do you have any personal speculation on what might be in store for us in Evangelion 4.0?
Oh, I would really hate to speculate, because everything I thought that might happen in the third movie, none of that happened. So I can't even guess what will be in 4.0. I don't even want to wish, because if I do, then it might jinx the whole thing. But who knows what's in store? I really, truly have no idea whatsoever.
So as any kind of actor, you have to have really thick skin to be able to succeed in the industry, of course. But because this is a Halloween convention, I want to know what scares you.
Ooh, what's scary? Well, I tell you what, Googling myself on the internet, you definitely, in my position, you do not want to read any message boards about yourself. I've done that before. It's a bad idea. Yeah, so I think that is, to me, that's pretty scary. It is a Halloween convention. I don't know, I love Halloween though, so that was always my favorite holiday as a kid, because you got to dress up, and so that was kind of like an acting job, is dressing up as a character. I don't know. There are, okay, just on a legitimate basis, heights, even though it's completely irrational, I have a ridiculously irrational fear of heights, so I will admit that right now. So I'm glad we're in a ground floor at this moment.
Yeah, and you're going to be getting on an airplane soon to go home.
You know what? Flying does not bother me. It's more like if you're standing somewhere like where there's a ledge or so, like any that kind. Oh no, I can't
can't do that at all.
And last of all, do you have any exciting personal projects in the works right now?
Oh, I do. I wish I could tell you about the project that I'm working on right now because it is so fantastic. But since I can't, I will tell you about the last thing, or one of the last things I worked on. It's a terrific, terrific series. It's called Parasite the Maxim, and I worked on the English script adaptations for that. I'm not in it, but I did work on the script for it, and it's just a great, great show. So it's actually going to be airing, the English version, on Cartoon Network, I think starting maybe in December. I can't remember the exact date, but I am currently playing Koro the dog in Akame ga Kill, which is on Cartoon Network. So it's a critter. I got to be a critter. I was so excited. I'm like, oh, I'm a critter.
Well, I mean, like regular acting, like stage acting, how often do you have the opportunity to do something like that, right?
Yeah, I don't do too much theater anymore. I did theater for many, many years and haven't really done any live theater now for about 3 or 4 years. And I love it. It's difficult to find the time to do that. And it really came down for me to a decision many years ago of whether I wanted to do conventions or if I wanted to do theater. Because when I was doing theater, of course, the performances were always on the weekend. So it's either like I could do conventions or I can do theater, and I really like doing conventions. So I chose you guys.
All right, well, thank you so much for taking the time to do an interview with Asuka Asks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Asuka.
You're welcome.